Oh, hi there, and welcome back to Coffee with Andreas, where we're brewing something special today because I have one of my favorite roasters here directly in Berlin, and Andrashko has gifted me a wonderful espresso, which I'm also pouring here by hand because that's how I like it. They have a blend here from Brazil, India, and Ethiopia, and it's one of the ones that gives me the kick that I need in the morning to get up and get all this done. And today, I'm especially excited because we have Diego Costa with us here in a couple of minutes, our COO, who's been bringing a very unique perspective to Dimitra because he is not only an agronomist by trade, but he's also the one that's helping us turn the vision into a day-to-day operations. And we're going to talk about how Dimitra has changed and how we've grown from the early days and what it really means to grow and to implement all that on the ground. So I'm quite excited for that. So if we look at this past couple of weeks, a topic that I want to mention is that we have onboarded or signed up 7 million farmers now with presence in over 29 countries. That makes us one of the key providers of digital services in the agricultural space, especially in the origins. When we think back, we will talk about what stands out there along that growth that we saw last year. And we also saw a fantastic new product coming out, our Dimitra Protocols, that went live and are now connecting AI, blockchain, and our utility token, DMTR, with other service providers because they can just plug and play our protocol into that. We'll look at that a little deeper with Diego. And the most exciting part from a commercial perspective, of course, that's me and my team. Fantastic new partnership in Kenya with the National Cooperative Union of Coffee, NACU, and of course our flagship national project with PTSI and the Government of Indonesia. We'll take a look at that. And it is a lot of progress this past year, and I think it's a good time to look at how it all ties back to our founder's original vision. Let's take a look. Welcome to Coffee with Andreas. Today I'm joined by our one and only Diego Costa, our COO here at Dimitra, and one of our 10 first employees at Dimitra. Hi, Diego.
Hello, Andreas. Nice talking to you, as always. Drinking a
Yes,
nice
and
cup of coffee here in Brazil because we can't start the day without our coffee.
that's right. I mean, I've been on. I think this is my 5th cup today because it's already the afternoon here in Berlin. What do you have in your cup?
I have a Colombian coffee today in my cup.
Well, shout out to our Colombian friends and customers. Thank you for all the hard work to get these beautiful beans into our cup. Thank you.
Yeah, keep doing the good work. Keep providing us the coffee we need.
And yeah, coffee, for me, coffee starts the day. I like it strong. I like it hand, what do you call it? Hand brew, drip coffee. What's your favorite cup? How do you prepare it?
Yeah, here today I'm at the office, right? So I'm at our office here in Brazil. And here we have an espresso. So it's just easier and faster. So that's what we have here. When we are at home, we have different setups. My wife has more, she's better on doing coffee than I am. But here at our office, it's an espresso machine with different coffees. We have coffee from Colombia, from Honduras, from different regions of Brazil as well. So we have for all tastes. And I like to
No,
try a little bit of everything, to be honest.
Amazing, a coffee connoisseur. I get what I can, and today it's a coffee from a little roastery here in Berlin that I like. So my cup is always strong and fresh, and also with special beans. It is a special drink that yeah, not only energizes me, but it actually invigorates me with the energy of. I believe I can taste how much work went into the cup if I really process my coffee the way I usually do. Then I feel a close connection to everybody that was working on this so hard. Such a great thing to work with you and the team on coffee now, even though we're just doing it remotely. But uh, Dimitra and coffee, there's um, no denying that coffee is a very important aspect of our business, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Coffee is important for us in our personal life, but always for the Mitra, right? It's probably the main crop we deal today. Crop, I would say after coffee, we would be talking about cocoa, and I could have a chocolate here as well. But yes, I think that today the main crop we are dealing with, the most amount of our producers, they are coffee producers, and we are very happy to work with them and happy to help them because that means more coffee for us.
Yeah, and even though we're calling it Coffee with Andreas, it's not about coffee. It's about this session with you is about getting to know you, Diego. And one question I have is now the new year 2026, and you've been with Dimitra from the beginning, um, through all the stages that you've experienced over the last 4.5 years, I think. When you look at the company today, what immediately feels different to you?
A lot has changed in there. So I think we learned a lot in this process, right? When John approached me the first time, he presented me his vision of the company. And I've been working with technology and agriculture for many years before the Mitra. I worked in the Ministry of Agriculture with a technology project. I worked in the Federation of Agriculture with a technology project. And when John presented me his vision for the Mitra, I was amazed. It was amazing what I saw, right? The vision of having everything in one single place, helping the farmers, focusing on small farmers instead of big farmers, where it's easier and it's faster. But the vision of and how we do this, everything tied with blockchain, with our utility token to so everything was fantastic. The vision he had before is still here, but we learned in the path, right? We started with a lot of things, maybe too focused on the farms, and then we saw that we realized that we need to solve a few organizational problems first, right? So then UDR came. And we realized, okay, we need to help the farmers, but we also need to have the organizations, the cooperatives, the governments, because they don't know how to deal with all this data. So we are more focused now with products that are helping not only the farmers, but now we have included the organizations. How can we make the
Hmm.
organizations see all this data? How can we help the organization to see this data and do something about it? Not only we with AI, with blockchain, with our apps helping the farmers, but also how can the organization see that data and say, okay, these are the farmers I need to help more. So we developed a lot of tools that is helping the farmers, but is also helping to solve problems, organizational problems. So this is a
Hmm.
change. When we started, we were too farmer focused. Let's help small farmers, small farmers, small farmers. That's still there. Everything's still there. But now we added a new layer of services like EUDR, ESG, carbon that helps also the organizations.
And 2025 brought a lot of big projects. I mean, we have several of them. What if you look at 2025 and those big milestones that we achieved, is there one that stands out for you?
It's hard for me to select one. I think I would need to say a few, and even so, I might be missing one or another. I mean,
Well, we want to know what you connected with, you personally. I know We can talk about the other ones as well, but what stands out to you as a special milestone that you felt was really a big step?
Yeah, I'm not trying to divert from the question, but it's really hard to me. I mean, I would say we have a very really relevant one, and one of the first national projects we have with PTSI. I think in Indonesia, right? I think that's
Mhm.
a milestone, an important milestone for us, working with national projects, with big projects, and I think that one opened doors for others. So if you think about how we use this as a learning process for us and to showcase everything we can do, I would say that that was the one that changed everything we were doing in 2025 when we signed that deal, when we closed that agreement, and we are now partners with a national organization, a major coffee producer, and people, other organization and other companies and other countries now see, okay, this is really what they are doing is different from what we see, what we have available. So I would say that one, although there are other things in other projects that I touched me a little bit more. From the company side, I would say PTSI is a game changer. Indonesia is a game changer. On a personal side, I really like what we are doing in Africa because I
Mhm.
learned a lot about the African farmers and the reality that they are in and how they really need help. So, in a personal perspective, I think the Africa project, the project we have with NACU in Kenya, um, is one of changed a lot of lives as well. So
So if we look at PTSI in Indonesia and that national scale from an operations point of view, why was this such an important milestone for Dimitra in 2025?
that's a good question, Andreas, because that's part of what happens behind the scenes, right? And we don't talk a lot about it. And but it's a lot of we have a lot of people, different teams working to make a project work. So as you mentioned, we need to manage all them together. We need to have in mind a milestone, a delivery, and deliver them. And for us to deliver, we have sales happening, we have network in Indonesia happening, we have legal processes going on. We need to sign an agreement. Uh, we have the development team developing new features and a change in adapting our platform for the reality that we have in Indonesia. We have our AI team mapping the region, getting the satellite images, training our AI module for each region in Indonesia. So I think the challenge is we had a product and we still have that product. That product needs to fit other projects, still needs to fit our existing clients. And we need to improve it and we need to develop new features, but we cannot affect the other projects. And for that to happen, for that to work, we need all the team working together. And we cannot do that before we have an agreement in place, before we sign an agreement, before we sign a contract.
Hmm.
So it's a lot of different teams working together. And the nice thing about Dimitri is, although we are all online, we don't have everyone in the office, right? Sometimes we have people in Brazil. I have our partners here in Brazil, sometimes at our office. Most of the times we are online in different time zones, but it's impressive how the team works well together. It's impressive when I need someone at 2 a.m. in India, in Indonesia, in Nepal, they are available. When they need us, when they need me, when they need John, when they need us at 3 a.m., 4 a.m., we are there. So it's impressive and how we make it work. So I see the team is very committed, but the challenge is there's a lot of things to do, right? We have a
Yeah.
government that has their own needs. It's not a platform that we offer. No, we have a government. Government has rules to follow. They have their own process. They won't change the whole process because of the metro. So how our technology fits their process and how we make that all happen in a way that it's it fits and it's we delivered it on time. So and what but the beautiful part is once we did that for Indonesia, we were more ready for other projects. That's why I said that the Indonesian project was a milestone for us because now we are ready. We have more governmental features that we know all governments will need and they are available for others. So I would say
And
that's the
I believe,
challenge. Yeah, go ahead.
yes, sorry to cut you off, but I exactly there I want to cut in because yes, it it is a pioneering effort that we're doing here, not only for Dimitra, but also for Indonesia, because they're now looking to digitize even further into their supply chains. And we are training new people on their side. We are experiencing new training moments for our team. I mean, I can only speak from a commercial side that, of course, sales is one part, but once the sale is closed, we realized this year that's when the work starts, right? That's when we need to start building capacity in the country, because we can't build the Dimitra team fast enough to do it all ourselves. We are empowering their people to do it themselves, right? To become digital experts. And from the deployment in Indonesia, what is there a moment or a an incident or a meeting that stood out to you, that gave us or you a new perspective on what it means to work on a national scale?
Yeah, you mentioned a good point that is training, right? How we make them understand how the platform works and how we should collect the data. I mean, I think when John was there in Indonesia, actually, right? So he was there in person, having the in-person meetings, and that also helped a lot in this process, gaining trust.
Mm.
And we joined online, right? And we joined online, and we realized the size of the team, the diversity of the team, the gaps that they had, the things that we needed to improve in our training process. It's a big challenge, right? Imagine in Indonesian, we're talking about millions of farmers, thousands of cooperatives. Uh, how do we reach out to them? How do we train them? How do we make videos? How do we make it easier for them to join? It's part of understanding the farmer, right? That our team needs to start understanding how the farmer works, how the farmer thinks. How do we train them? It's not, oh, let's get everyone in an online meeting and let's train them. That doesn't work. That doesn't work. We
Yeah,
have a lot of
that's true.
groundwork to do, right? We need people on the ground. We have a lot of people. We have a very relevant team in Indonesia managed by Ricky, helping train everyone and having put all the things together in the ground. But we learned a lot that we need to produce more videos. We need to produce more offline materials. We need to be shorter materials. We had a training material, a PDF with 10 pages that needs to
You
come down to one or two. So all of those are changes, challenges.
I love that you're always jumping into all the details, because that's your life, right? As operational officer, chief operational officer, you're overseeing all these processes. From a commercial and sales side, we're always looking for, human interaction and human stories. So let me try to get you to answer a little more on a personal experience level. You mentioned Ricky, our director of Indonesia. And from your experience now with Ricky, whom you've met many 3 4 years ago, I think, how has he grown? What was your interaction where you thought, wow, Ricky has really taken another step in his managements to actually reach that national level, um, yeah, readiness in being a person, being a professional with Dimitra. Was there a human moment that you can share with us?
I mean, I had the chance to go to Indonesia and talk to Ricky in person and meet him and have some time together with him. And Ricky is a very impressive person, to be honest. When I heard Ricky talking about coffee, about agriculture, I always thought he was an agricultural person. I always thought he was, okay, he's a veterinarian, he's an agronomist, he's someone that is related to agriculture, but he's not. But
Mm.
he studies, he analyzes, he goes deep into the subject that he's talking about. So he can talk about how the coffee works in Indonesia in a way that's quite impressive. And I was thinking, oh, he's from that sector, he's from that supply chain. He's not. He's just someone that understands what he needs to do and goes deep into that and goes very deep into that. So and when that was already with him, he already had that, right? Since the beginning, I realized that Ricky was, but after maybe 1 year or 2 years ago, I think he started putting this plan together, right? 3 years ago, maybe. Some people don't know how long it takes to get these things done. he started to put a plan together and had it in his mind, and okay, I need to close this national deal. And he built a
Mm.
strategy to do that. And he learned in this process on how to make it happen. Right. So in the beginning, we think this is not going to lead nowhere, but he stood it. He did it again. He called one more time. He went to their office. He was there showing what we can do and calling them. And well, I think when he put on his mind what he needed to do, when he learned what he needed to do, it was the first step to get where we are. Of course, and that in between those two, we have many things that happen. But for not getting to the details, I think when he merged his knowledge about the sector, and again, something that he studied, he analyzed it to know so much, and his management and his strategy to go national and stop chasing smaller projects. When he put that all together, that was the first step to get us where we are today.
And now jumping from Indonesia to Kenya, where we also have a very wide-ranging coffee project with the National Cooperative Union organization. What makes that partnership different from the previous projects that you've encountered with Dimitra?
What makes it different? I think it's the way they do farming, right? Their structure. Um, I'm used to coffee farmers here in Brazil, right? That's
Hmm.
and Latin America. Sometimes I have a little bit of knowledge on how coffee is grown and how the structure of the supply chain works. And in Kenya, it's a little bit different. The farmers, they do it in a different way. And they sometimes are not yet professional coffee farmers. And that's what we want to help them with. That's where what we want to help
Mm.
them get. But what caught my attention, and I need to mention one more person that is relevant now that we're talking about NACU, we need to talk about everything that Kevin is doing. But there's a learning process for me when I talk to Jan, which is our director in Europe. And when I had the opportunity in Portugal with you guys and talking with him for many hours, and he explained me how coffee works in Uganda and Kenya and in other countries. And I mean, it's it's impressive. I mean, it's
It
totally different
is,
from
and I
what
can't
I
wait to have Jan and also Kevin here on the show, so that we can dive deep into their history. And Jan, obviously, with 40 years of coffee experience, quite tremendous what he brought in value and knowledge to the team, and is bringing into the team every day. Um, Now, wh- since we're having coffee, you and I, by the way, let's have another sip. Mm. What interests me is your perspective, and how a project like NACU changes the way you think we think about traceability, compliance, and inclusion, and how has it changed the way you perceive our work that we do around the globe, actually? Is there something that you personally thought, wow, yeah, this has really taken us? You mentioned helping the farmers. They're not as professional, obviously, in Brazil. They're the most professional and most automated coffee farmers in the world. So entering in Kenya to NACU and their need for knowledge, how does that make you feel that we are um, selected to be that conduit between coffee knowledge, traceability, and the farmers?
I think that's what brought me uh, was very relevant for me. It's very important for everything that we are doing. So when I learned that, and when we talked with Jan, there was no yet NACU project, but when I learned that, it changed a little bit. And when we start talking to them, when we start working with them, and realizing that our technology can help any kind of farm, any type of farm, and it's a learning process for Dimitra, but we need to learn with them. I always say when we go to this meeting, it's not about our technology, it's about your problem. What's the problem you have? Well, how can we solve it? And going into Kenya to NACU and talking to them is impressive. It was interesting to see we can help farmers anywhere. We need to learn with them. We need to understand how they do it. We need to make our product fit. But the core of our platform works everywhere. And I'm very glad to keep this vision that John had. How do we help small farmers? And
Yeah.
when we talk about small farmers, this is what we are talking about. Farmers in some areas of Brazil, farmers in some in Africa, in some areas of Latin America. So that's what very impressive for me in the NACU project is. Yes, we are really doing it. We're not just talking about it. It's really impressive.
And for me, traveling there with Jan together and being part of the signing of the deal late last year showed also the trust that they have in their leadership, in the NACU leadership, which are young, a new young team to take on that executive management of the national organization. The farmers, they have the trust of all their farmers, and the farmers are eager to use technology. They're eager to get involved. So the training of trainer models that we deploy all around the world, that hits such fertile ground in these young Africans that want the change, that see the opportunity to take matters into their own hand. And that's a driver for me always when I think of what am I going to do today with the team. I'm empowering them to take matters into their own hands as we are empowering the farmer with knowledge, with technology. And that invigorates me every single day. I don't know how it is for you, but I get my fix of human interaction when I see those and remember the faces, how excited they are when they first use the app, how excited they are when they finally understand what carbon credits has to do with them and how they can create value out of what they're already doing that they haven't reached yet. Those are moments where their eyes light up and they finally get it. It's a light bulb moment, and then they want to learn more. Do you remember a moment like that for you? When, I mean, you've been working with farmers around the world and you've been visiting many team members. Is there a special moment for you?
Yeah, I mean, what you mentioned is really important. And I realized that a few times before in a few projects we had. We give them a start, we give them a small push, and they start pushing. They start, I want more, I need more. And they start realizing everything that the data can do, everything the technology can do. I had some experiences, I would say, in Brazil, the Amazon region in Brazil, where we go there to collect data from cacao farmers, right? And we show them the app, and they 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 see their farms from the satellite view of their farms, and we show them reports, and they say they at the first they don't understand how do I have so much information about the farms without asking them. So I can tell them if they are doing well, if they are not doing well, if they are struggling in a specific part of their farm. And then we start to explain how, and we see how these small farmers are left behind, right, without this knowledge. And we see in their eyes that, okay, I need to use this, but yet I don't know how. And then there's all this process on training and collecting and providing them with more information. But you see that we start simple, farm registration, satellite images, and then they start asking, oh, what's about carbon credits? How do I have food traceability? And oh, I have this. How do? And it's impressive on how once you show them that you're there, once you give them attention, you give them your ears, you hear them
Yeah.
a little bit, and then they just start, okay, we understand what they need, and we see that they really need our help and they want it, but they were left behind. And it's quite impressive. I mean, you had the opportunity to go to Africa, to Kenya. I hadn't. But that happens everywhere. And I think everyone should have that experience to see their face changing, their eyes changing, and say, okay, this
Yeah.
will really change my future, my sons, my so my family future. So, and I can do this. I can make more money. It's better for the world. It's better. It's going to be better for me. So I think everyone
Yeah.
needs to have that experience in the company, to be honest.
I agree, and this is part of trying to open up to not only our partners and team members, but also other viewers to look behind the scenes, and maybe our investors, our crypto investors, to meet us. What makes us do what we do every day? What makes us get up in the morning? That's why these stories about specific encounters with farmers are so valuable to bring that across, that feeling, for those that can't experience it because they're working in our development team. So I love telling stories, so I try to do that every week to bring in some human aspect so that the rest of the team understands it and gets to experience it secondhand. And this series we started because of that. We want to look behind the scenes. We want to understand what makes Diego tick, and maybe we can get to that now. What and maybe you can find ways to answer a little more specifically to where we want to take this. And if you had to summarize this year's projects in one sentence, right?
2025 or
This
2026?
2025, no, this past year's project. If you would have to summarize that in one sentence, how would you describe it?
Oh, you're asking hard questions for a person like me, Andreas. It's hard. It's hard for me to summarize in one sentence. But I mean, not ev I like to talk about the team. So I would say very hard teamwork. I mean, if I had to say in one sentence, last year was crazy. I mean, a lot of work and a very, very hard teamwork and preparing for next year's, right? So the stones, the getting ready for next year. So I would say that's where I would summarize it. I think maybe you want something more inspirational, but that's you.
No, I think it's it's a great counterpoint to say 2025 was freaking crazy. No, I believe that we have achieved what you just mentioned: more teamwork, more trust between the departments, more processes, clearer definition of communication, so that we can scale. And yes, it will be crazy again, 2026, and scaling this over the next 5 to 10 years will be mind-blowingly crazy for us, because I don't think we've ever seen something like this. What we will see in the coming years. But let's take it step by step, right? This next year is to prove that the processes we put in place are working and are scalable. And you and I have talked about that last January when we met in Berlin the first time, or February, for Food Logistica. And here we are a year later, and we've done it. We've implemented processes that are basic processes between the team to implement clearer teamwork structure. So I believe 2025 was crazy. 2026 will be wild. And the difference between wild and crazy is: crazy you can't control, wild you can tame and start controlling. So let's work on that. What do you think?
Yeah, we can try to we do control it, but yeah, I agree. And this all happens because while we are working on the wildness of what everything we are doing, we are planning new crazy things for the future, right? So we are planning on we need to keep this working, and we also need to think about new products. So the company is growing, and that's why I think in 2025 is going to be better under that perspective.
I think we can all agree that the launch of Dimitra Protocol was a major milestone in 2025. Why was this a shift necessary for the company from your point of view?
Actually, it's actually uh, everything that we aimed since the beginning, right? Since the beginning, we are utility token. And how do we connect these two worlds? Agricultural, farming, coffee, cocoa in some regions in the world with the Web3, with technology, with blockchain, with the utility token. So the protocol is the consolidation of everything we have doing, or we have been doing for the last years. Now, everyone that wants to use our technology that needs an AI service will use the protocol to have access to that. And that's where they need, without having to explain them what is the blockchain, what is a token, what is a utility token. That's how when they consume our services, they will be connecting to this protocol and using our utility token to have access to it. So it's the grand
And
finale.
for
Not the it's the that's the very bad wording, but it's the consolidation of everything we do, and it's how we connect Web 2 to the farming to Web 3 to our token.
right, and for those of us that are maybe not, or the listeners that are not that tech savvy, when you say, can you quickly tell us how you said consuming the protocol? So a third party software provider might need a specific AI service, and how does that then work?
Yeah, then he integrates with our protocol using some APIs,
Mhm.
and he will be having access to, if he has farms registered on his platform, right? He's another service provider that has some farms registered, and he doesn't have AI tools, and he wants to provide satellite images or satellite reports or deforestation reports, any whatever AI tool we make available using the protocol, they can just connect with us and offer that service to their clients. But it's also
Mhm.
connected to, of course, to our clients, to our farms, to our existing partners. But since you ask about third party connections, it's also going to be available to third parties so they can connect with us.
So it's like being the AI engine behind another service provider's tools, right?
Yes, AI is very expensive, very hard to have, needs some specific knowledge. A lot of people, we have a fantastic team doing AI, and not everyone can do that. And not everyone needs to do that. So we do it, we
Yeah.
make it available for others. That makes our protocol bigger, and it's good for them as well. It's a win-win situation.
And when you look at it from an operational point of view, how we develop software, how has the protocol helped unify everything that Dimitra offers now under one architecture?
The protocol is the connection between everything we have, at each software we have, connected farmer, connected coffee, connected cocoa, EUDR, due diligence, with the AI tools. Right?
Mhm.
So the AI tools, now each of our platforms, each of our softwares, they need to connect with the protocol to access the AI services we make available. So it stays above everything, right? Connecting everything to AI services. So we're gonna add more AI service to the protocols, and it's how everyone in our organization, in our network, in our clients and third parties can have access to the AI services.
So would you say Dimitra is setting new standards with that protocol for for a whole industry?
Yes, we
I,
are making AI available for everyone. Right?
yeah.
Normally, when people develop AI, they develop and make it available only for themselves. So we are an AI company focused on agriculture, and we are making AI, agricultural AI, available for everyone and everywhere.
If we look at the early days of Dimitra that you were part of, I mean, you're one of the founding members. I would say one of the first 10. Um, could you have imagined that we are setting standards in a whole industry in just a few short years? And what did it look like back then for you operationally?
John always had this vision. To be honest, John always had this vision to set new standards, to be a leading company, to help. I wouldn't expect us to be for it to be so fast. To be honest. I know how hard it is to grow globally, right? Grow in many countries around the world. And I wouldn't expect us to be this far. So I would say it was always in our roadmap. It was always there. How we would do it, it was not that clear. And now it is clear. It's the protocol, is how we do everything, how we offer all this. But this vision was always there. We did it much faster than we expected. and much things to do, yes. But I would not expect this to happen in 4 years, 5 years. No.
Yeah. And what did success look like for you back then? That early stage. What was a success back then?
Yeah, as you can see a little bit from the behind the scenes, as you can see, this was not we did not talk before. So Andreas is making some hard questions, and this is what the conversation is about, right? So uh, talking and finding, discovering new things. So um, success I would be helping a lot of small farmers, but there was a lot of vision on my side, a lot
Mm,
of vision of the future. And I would never imagine in 5 years that we would be working with governments. I thought, okay, we're going to go in there, work with cooperatives. We're going to make a lot of work with a lot of cooperatives, big company, and work with them and offer them the technology. Um,
yeah.
but it was even for that. So I'm an operational person, right? And I like to think, okay, what's possible in the next days? It was impossible. It was hard for me to imagine that we would do so much in so short term. So short term.
And as an operational guy, you are our COO. How have you seen Dimitra mature specifically in terms of structure, process, and team? What are key things that really move you now, where you look back at 4 years and say, "Wow, we've come a long way." Not only creating protocol, not only signing up 7 million farmers worldwide, but actually the maturity of structure, process, and teams. What stands out?
That's another good question because a lot, to be honest, a lot stands out. When I joined, I started as Latin America director, right? So I was selling. I was trying to sell the technology. We had some connections, we did some good projects, but the connection between the technology and the needs on the ground and how we developed and how we had a clear roadmap for the future of the company was not that clear. The processes, the vision was there,
Mhm.
but the processes were not, right? And when I was talking to John and John invited me to be COO, I said, okay, only when I will succeed when I'm not needed anymore. I'm still needed, so that thank God for that. But I'm still needed, so the things we have a lot to do. But we now the training is organized, right? Sharif is doing a great job as well. The sales process is much better. The development process is better. Everything within their own boxes works better, but the connection between these boxes now is much better as well. Hard work from everyone to achieve that, but it's a huge difference from when I joined from today, and how we can manage all these teams.
Yes, indeed. And we've all experienced quite tremendous growing pains in the past couple of years. And if you look at those pains, what stands out? What was a major growing pain that you experienced yourself, and what did we learn from them?
I would say connection between the farmers' needs and what we were developing. I think that
Mm.
was a major pain. I like to say again, we need to focus on solving problem, not what I think is important, what I think is relevant. If that doesn't solve any one problem, that's irrelevant. No one will buy it. So there was a disconnect when we started. There was a disconnect between what we had developed, what we had in our roadmap, and for what not what they needed, but what they were ready to consume. What was something that
Yeah.
will make them join? Because I think they need everything, but they were not. That was not their pain at the first moment, right? And we are not solving a big pain. And I think that's the major problem we solved. We managed to, okay, let's be more farmer focused, let's be more agricultural focused and not technology focused. It's not about developing technology, it's about solving problems for the agriculture. I think that's the biggest change for me. And we suffered a lot in the beginning with that when we tried to implement something and it's not there yet. It's not what they needed. And we learned and we improved and we changed what we had in our roadmap.
That's right. That was a several big discussions internally that I had. How do we deliver what we do to an audience, to a user audience that is just getting started with digital tools, where we talk about with you experts in about protocol, AI, blockchain. the farmer only wants to know how to get the coffee from the tree to into the bag and off to market. And that translation of how do we take that complexity and meet the farmer where they are, that's for me the biggest realization for the team on a team level that we've achieved in 2025, that we now understand, okay, yes, we are experts and we are thinking ahead and we have all that knowledge and that functionality, but really what the customer understands in the first few moments of meeting us is only the basics. So starting with the basics is very important for me, especially when it comes to onboarding farmers. And talking about onboarding farmers, we are now onboarding 7 million farmers and counting. What does scaling to millions of farmers actually mean from an operations perspective?
Using a word that you used, wildness. It's amazing. I really love it. I love being in this kind of process, right? But again, a lot of challenges, and we need to do it right. Another thing about farmers is if you don't get it right, there's not a second chance. So
That's right.
when you think about scaling to 7 million farmers, not only you need to have your own training process, to train the trainers process in place, but how do you monitor the trainers? How you make sure the trainers are giving the right message? How do you make sure the farmers, how do you collect feedback? How do you look at your product and say, okay, this is, sometimes they don't tell us. They struggle, they don't add the needed information, and they don't tell us. We need to figure that out, seeing that, okay, this community is not using this feature. And when we are talking about 7 million farmers, sometimes it's beautiful when we talk to them and they let us know, but sometimes we need to learn as well.
Now let's talk about Diego. Was there a moment when you realized Dimitra had entered a new phase as a company? A moment where you felt, oh yeah, now it's that next gear shift is there, or that next momentum is coming for you personally, not from an operational side, just for you, Diego, when you realized, wow, now we're actually stepping it up.
Yeah, then we will go back to our national project. I think
Yeah.
that's the game changer for us, right? We go back to something we already discussed. It's not more about Dimitra doing project for big companies, big organizations. It's now about the whole country relying on us. And I think that's when, okay, now it's different. Now we are in a different level. We are everyone will look at us in this a different way, and we need to treat ourselves and address our problems in a different way as well, because we are in a different level. We need to play a different game.
We need to step it up yet again, right? And that's a good segue into asking, how do you keep yourself motivated to do that? I mean, you're the one tying it all together, getting all the teams excited and keeping them moving forward. Swinging the whip and giving them some bread. And what keeps you motivated in your role as COO?
People, to be honest, and people in our team and people that we impact. So when I
Yeah.
can see the videos, everything that we are doing, all our team working together, and all the lives that we are making impact, we are changing the farmer's life. That's what keeps me motivated. That's what gets me out of bed when I need to get out of bed at 3 a.m. I know that if I do this, I'll be helping people, or I need to do this to help my team, our team that is in some place around the world and is having a meeting with a farmers that also needs our help. So for me, it's all about people. And when I
Yeah.
talk, and also the people, farmers and people, our community, our crypto community as well, how can we connect everything that we are doing with them? So how do we make sure we impact farmers and investors' life, right? So that's
Mhm.
always in my what makes me motivated to wake up every day, working up to late every day, so we can deliver what we need to deliver.
Thank you for that. That resonates with me as well. It is about people, and it is about translating all that great technology for them to understand how we can help and empower them. And now, looking forward, what do you think Dimitra needs to protect as it's as we continue to grow? What is the core essence of Dimitra that you think we need to protect now that we're scaling our team internally as well?
I think we need to protect our vision and our mission, what we are here for, right? Everyone who joins the team needs to understand why we are doing this and where we want to get. And also keep innovating, right? We cannot stop. That's something we cannot lose. We need to keep developing because we need to be one step ahead of our competitors. We need to have dozens of AI tools available for us to assess and decide which one is going to be available next. We cannot stop that. Just because we need to sell, just because we need to sell to all the governments around the world, that's very important, but I need to think about next year. I need to think about 2027, what's going to be important at that moment, and to keep the development team thinking and the innovation team thinking on, okay, here's a new feature. And then we talk to our clients, and learning from them is something we can never lose as well. How do we learn from our clients to deliver something they need?
And if you can imagine someone just stepping into our conversation and discovering Dimitra for the first time, maybe they're on the cusp to invest in our token, maybe they're on the cusp to sign up as a sales partner. What should they understand about who we are now?
Dimitra is a technology company, but the technology is not the important part of what we do. The solution part is the important part of what we do, right? If we have technology that doesn't solve any problem, it's useless. So we are a technology company. So if the first time I talked to anyone, it happened more when I was in the sales process. But this meeting, I don't want to talk about our technology. I want to talk about your problems, about you, and then I show you how my technology helps you. So we are in the business of making a difference, not on just developing technology because it's nice to have. Oh, AI is nice to have. Let's develop AI. That's not where Dimitra is. Dimitra is in a different place when we solve real problems from real people using high edge technology.
We are in the business of solving solving problems. That's of delivering solutions. That's a great closing word from you, Diego, and thank you for sharing your perspective. Thank you for walking us through Dimitra's evolution, which is quite exciting because you've been there, one of the first ones. And any final or additional thoughts that you have before we leave this little coffee talk with me?
No, I think as a final message, I would like to say thank you, right, to our internal team. But we say that in every meeting we thank you them. But I would like to say thank you for our clients, the people that trust us to deliver the technology, and our investors, our crypto investors, the crypto community we have. Everything that we have done, it's not because of me, because of John, because of Andreas, because of the whole team. Everything is done is because we are together. We have a vision, we have a mission, and then you guys believed in us as well. And this is a good thing about this podcast, about these conversations that we are having. You get to meet us. We are here for the real thing, right? You know us. We are here. We are real people developing real technology. So I really want to thank you guys and say that we are learning from everything we missed. We didn't get it right on the first. We are learning. We are improving, and we have a great vision ahead. No project is like ours, right? Real utility. Which project has real utility and real world demand? Everyone needs to eat. That's where we are. So we are going to help them to produce food for everyone to keep eating and drinking their cup of coffee.
We are a farmily, as our investors have coined our team. Thank you to everyone who's watching. Hope to join you. You will join again for us next time. Coffee with Andreas. In a couple of weeks, you'll see a new episode, and I hope to see you next time. Thank you so much, and all the best from Berlin.
Thank
Cheers
you, Andreas.
to Brasilia. Thank you.
Wishing all the best from Brazil. Thank you.
Cool. I'll see you in the next meeting later on. Thank you so much. Bye bye.
Bye bye.